Just in from Tech Factory Racing, we have some accessories for our RadioMaster MT12. Ooh. I am going to start out this video to say that I'm not sponsored by PD's Bing. Delicious. Not sponsored yet. So here we got some RC stuff. We're back to task here. Tech Factory Racing sent me a couple of accessories for the RadioMaster MT12. And they look neat. They look extremely well printed. Very well designed and made of flexible TPU. Woo! TPU is extremely difficult to print. If you've ever printed stuff before, you definitely know what the problems are, but it likes to string a lot. It likes to have holes in it a lot. And I must say the quality on these prints are really good looking. There's a couple of little things that me as a printer could be like, meh, but however, these are extremely well printed, very functional, and they're very well done. It's a much harder TPU, which something like this, you want a harder TPU, you don't want it to be super soft in my opinion. So what do we have? We've got this little wheelie wheel, knobby wheel. I'm assuming I just pull this foam off. Oh yeah, and then shove this on. I'm probably, this one's gonna be tight enough I may want to heat it up with like a hairdryer first. It might go on, I just don't wanna. All right, so I had shingles a few weeks ago and that hurt my hand. So I'm gonna install that later after I heat it up in an oven or something. Or actually, I'll just go get a hot air gun here in a minute and we'll do it on camera. We'll see if these slip on. We've got our little knob things. Yeah, that's tight enough. I'm gonna injure my hand or the radio. Shingles, aha, okay, so that one slipped on. Shingles really sucks, I'll say that. I typically manifest in the ulnar nerve of my right arm. I lose a lot of strength in my hand. I lose the use of my hand when it gets pretty bad. And I did catch it fairly early this time. All right, that's rubbing against the body there. We want to make sure it's, there we go. Camera mount. And I don't know which way the camera mount would mount. This way? This way? Is this even the place where it should be mounting, or is it someplace else? Oh, it's probably up here. Oh yeah, there's like a hole. There's, oh yeah, look at that. That's like made for this radio. Is this a button up here? No, that is not a button. Cool. So we're not going to be hiding a button. All right, maybe if I do a better job of aligning this, it'll go on. So while this camera mount position isn't, so low that it could be a on the rocks camera, it is definitely, that's neat. Maybe we'll start adding in something like this on our videos for a perspective. And it's got the little screw holes there too, so you don't have to worry about it falling off. Neat little addition. Cool. I do wonder, I see a portion. Okay, I just needed to push it on a little better. It's got some nibs to kind of keep it in. All right, hands, don't fail me now. There we go. You know what is failing me is my ability to line things up. There we go. Good enough. Good enough. Yeah, a camera would. Ow! Jesus. All right. My hands aren't quite recovered yet. Even though it was a right hand shingles, my left hand has still been. Generally, all my joints have been very annoyed. All right, we're gonna install this. I'm gonna get a heat gun. All right, we are back with the heat gun. This one is not a digital heat gun, so hopefully it won't affect all of our lights. The digital ones a lot of times will cause flickering in lights, which we'll see in the post-processing of the video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat this up generously, hopefully without melting it, and then I'm gonna slip it on. And hopefully I don't get it to the point of melting. I don't want to get it past the glass transition temperature, or else it'll stretch and then it won't come back. But if I just get it warm, it's going to get pliable and bendy. So we don't want to hit the glass transition temperature, which on TPU I believe is like 60 Celsius, somewhere around 60 or 65 Celsius. But typically you're going to be printing much higher. We're just going to get it nice and toasty warm. We'll know when it gets warm enough, because it'll get, right now it's not really bending much. And it'll take a minute to heat soak. If you ever have things that are made of rubber or TPU that are too tight to install, this is the secret. Let's say you could throw it in a little toaster oven, but a toaster oven is typically going to be way too hot. Ooh yeah, she's starting to soften just a little. There we go, there we go. Now what's going to happen is it's going to heat soak slowly through the actual body of it. Right now we're only heating up the exterior. So I'm going to kind of hit the edges. We can smell, well, you can't smell, but I can smell at this point that it's starting to warm up. Either that or it's my tabletop surface getting really hot and stinking. So we'll just keep this away. Do I have a cold setting on this? Let's see, we've got, I think that's just low fan speed. Well, the tabletop is heating up enough that it will transfer the heat through. And oh yeah, it's starting to get nice and flexible now. We'll finish this out with a little interior here and there. Do a little north, south, east, west on it. Now, let's see. Well, it's definitely much more flexible. I don't know if it'll slip over, but we're going to try. Oh yeah, that's what we needed. That's exactly what we needed. And I did not heat it up too much. Haha, look at that. Well, now my steering is going to be slower when I go like that. All right, let's see. That is big enough to where I can one-hand it. Now the issue with one-handing on this radio is you're going to hit buttons with it, but then we have this wheel. We got the detent in the middle now, but much easier to one thumb on that. And I can't really reach this with my other hand, my trigger hand. So it would be one of these numbers, I reckon. Now, what would you want to use these for? You could certainly use them for something like a four-wheel steer rig on this side. And if you needed something like a dig control on a competition rig, like a MOA, a 2.2 MOA class, WRCCA style, then you could have this being a dig adjustment on there. So you would have like rear axle only, you hit the detent in the middle, equally front and rear axle. And then as you roll forwards, you're gonna get more and more front axle on your mix. So this could be a mix knob. And for your four-wheel steering, you could also do a mix knob on this, or you could have this only control your rear steering, and then you could do a mix on this or one of these, so that you could change if you do crab or regular four-wheel steering or no four-wheel steering with this. And that way you just have some options. So what a lot of people do, I think right now, y'all let me know in the comments if you're using this with a four-wheel steer rig. What I think a lot of people do is they have a mix for regular four-wheel steering and crab built into one of these. And then they have this as their fourth channel, I guess. So you can just steer with this. I mean, we can get pretty much full lock to lock on it. It doesn't return to center though, but if you're using your rear steer, you're not doing it while you're going fast generally. So you don't need that return to steering, at least in my opinion. So you can do that, or you can just like leave it alone and you throw on your 4-wheel steering and boom, you got 4-wheel steering right there. So more controllable in a competition setting, more enjoyable if you just have a mix to be out bashing, a lot easier and simpler. And the way that these are set up, you can have a variable mix to where let's say one of these buttons gives you a regular 4-wheel steering mix, but it's like every one gives you 25% more mix. So you would have 4 settings of extreme on your rear steer, where you just get a little bit on the first and you get all the way on the max, of course. And then on another one, you could have your mix for crab steering, or you could just have it reverse a mix. So it would be like this button or this button, or it doesn't really matter. Whichever button you want, you can have flip in between the crab mix and the 4-wheel steer mix. There's so many different ways to do it on this one, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I know Harley Designs has some guides on how he sets things up in mixes. So these are parts from Tech Factory Racing. I don't know if they have any resources on how they prefer to mix, but this is nice. These are nicely printed parts, and they're probably going to stay on my rig, although it does give me ideas for printing some of my own. I know that there's some gated ones to where you can set maximum and minimum throws. There's ones that I've seen where these are actually connected together, so you can do 2 at once, which is really cool in my opinion. Let's see, how far does this throw? It is not quite 360. It's like, I don't know if y'all can see on camera. We're pointing in this direction directly towards my thumbnail on that side, and then we rotate all the way around and we're pointing over here directly towards my thumbnail on that side. So not quite full 360. It would be really difficult to get that to work unless we had like a pivot somewhere. Just thinking out loud. But I have heard of people connecting these with printed parts so that when you rotate one, it rotates both of them, and you can have some pretty cool mixing going on. Although you could also engage something like an extra mix that you turn on that would do essentially the exact same thing. Lots of options on these radios, but some pretty cool little accessory parts from Tech Factory Racing, and I do like them, and I like the orange as well. It's a very nice orange. So there we go. I guess I'm gonna have to go out in the rocks and use this very soon. I believe we have some weather coming up that's gonna allow that. If you got any questions about these or anything specific you want to see on the MT12, let me know in the comments. We'll do our best to get to them. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. You've made it to the end of the video. Hopefully that means you liked what you saw. If you want to help out the channel, you can like, subscribe, and definitely comment down below. We would like to hear new ideas from you, so be sure you let us know what you'd like to see. There are some other suggestions probably floating by my head right now that you can check out, and otherwise we appreciate your support and your help growing the channel.